Hi and welcome. My name is David Renert and I'm here to do a video grammar lesson as part of California State University at San Bernardino's class EESL 660 for the winter 2016 term. And my grammar lesson is going to be on the objects of verbs. So the purpose of this video is to familiarize adult learners of English grammar with the objects of verbs, such as the direct object and the indirect object of a sentence. And in this video, hopefully you'll learn how to identify both the direct object and the indirect object of a sentence. A sentence must contain two basic elements, a subject and a verb. When the verb in a sentence is an action verb, there is often an object that follows the subject and verb. The object in the sentence that receives the action is called a direct object. There are some things that you can look for when you are trying to determine the direct object in a sentence. First, a direct object is either a noun or a pronoun. Next, a direct object follows an action verb. It is the direct object that receives the action of a verb in the sentence. You can ask yourself who or what is being acted upon. Let's take a look at an example. Here we have a sentence. My cat is stalking a mouse. Well, we know that my cat is the subject. It's my cat that's doing something in this sentence. What is it that my cat is doing? Well, my cat is stalking. Stalking is the verb in this sentence. It's the action that my cat is doing. Now, remember, a direct object has to be a noun or a pronoun, and it's got to come after the action verb. So let's look and see what word comes after the verb. The verb is stalking. The only noun after that verb is mouse. Therefore, mouse is the direct object. My cat is the subject of the sentence. It's my cat that's performing the action. Stalking is the verb. Stalking is the action that my cat is doing in this sentence. However, my cat is stalking something. The mouse is the object that the verb stalking is acting upon. Therefore, the mouse is the direct object of the sentence. Let's take a look at some other sentences and practice finding the direct object. The first sentence is, we are eating dinner. Let's start by finding the subject. The subject of the sentence is we. We are the ones that are doing something. Therefore, we is the subject. Well, we're doing something. What is it that we're doing? We're eating. Eating is the verb in the sentence. Now let's think about our rules and what a direct object is and see if we can locate it. Well, we know that it's a noun or a pronoun, and then it comes after a verb. So in this sentence, we are eating dinner. Dinner is a noun, and it comes after eating. So dinner is the direct object. We is the subject. Our eating is the verb. Dinner is the direct object. We are eating dinner. In the second sentence, I bought a new car. I am the subject. I am the subject in this sentence. I'm the one that performed an action. What action is it that I performed? Well, I bought something. So that makes bought the verb in this sentence. Now, if we look for a noun that comes after the verb, the only one here is car. New is simply an adjective that describes the car. That makes car the direct object of the sentence. I, the subject, bought, the verb, a car, the direct object. I bought a new car. The third sentence is, Michael, my youngest brother, wants a new snowboard. Let's see who the subject of the sentence is. Michael is the same thing as my youngest brother. So my youngest brother is Michael. They're the same person. So Michael is the subject in the sentence. Well, Michael wants something. Wants is a verb. Michael, the subject, wants, the verb. What is it that Michael wants? Well, let's take a look after the verb and see if we can find a noun. Well, just like in the previous sentence, new is an adjective. So new is not going to be the direct object. New is describing the noun that comes after it. And since it's the only noun that comes after wants, it must be the direct object. Michael wants a snowboard. Michael is the subject, wants is the verb, snowboard is the direct object. Michael, my youngest brother, wants a new snowboard. Let's take a look at the last sentence. There's a lot of information here, but I think we can pull it out. The subject in the sentence is similar to the way that the subject is written in the sentence is similar to the previous sentence. So, my coworker Cheryl is a person. She also happens to be the newest employee in the atelier. Therefore, it's the same person. So Cheryl is the subject. And I know that's a lot of words, but it's all describing, it's providing more information about the subject, but the subject is still Cheryl. Cheryl is doing something in this sentence. What is the action word? The action word here is designing. Cheryl is the subject, is designing something. Designing is the verb. Well, what is it that Cheryl is designing? Let's see if we can locate the noun following the verb. In this case, beautiful and modern are both adjectives describing kitchen. So we know those aren't the direct objects. The noun after designing is kitchen. Cheryl is designing a kitchen. Kitchen is the direct object. My coworker Cheryl, the newest employee in the atelier, is designing a beautiful, modern kitchen. An indirect object answers the questions to whom, or for what. That is to say, who or what is receiving the direct object in the sentence. There are some rules to follow. An indirect object always follows an action verb. An indirect object is always a noun or a pronoun. And it's usually found between the verb and the direct object in the sentence. Let's look at some sentences below that contain both direct objects and indirect objects. Brian is giving his teacher flowers. Sean is making his family breakfast. And Cassie is giving Ginger treats. When we're reading these sentences, we know that the direct and the indirect objects come after the verb. And when the sentence contains a direct and an indirect object, we know that there'll be two nouns following the action verb. So let's look at the first sentence. Brian is giving his teacher flowers. Well, if we're trying to find the direct object, we have to look and see if we can find the noun that comes after the action verb. Brian is giving. Brian is the subject. Giving is the verb. But what is he giving? Is he giving his teacher? No, he's not giving his teacher away. He is giving flowers. So if Brian is the subject and giving is the verb, flowers then is the direct object. And since we know that the indirect object comes between the verb and the direct object, that leaves teacher as the noun in between. Brian is the subject, giving is the verb, flowers is the direct object, and teacher is the indirect object. Let's look at an example of a sentence with a direct and an indirect object. The sentence is, I am cooking my family a big Italian dinner. Well, let's start off by identifying the subject. I am the subject of the sentence. I'm the one that's doing the action. But what is it that I'm doing in the sentence? What I'm doing is the action verb. Therefore, cooking is the verb in the sentence. I am cooking. Now, that could stand alone on its own as a sentence, I am cooking, but I am cooking something. What is it that I'm cooking in this sentence? Well, let's find the direct object first. The direct object we know is going to be a noun, so we know that, and it's also going to come after the verb, the action in the sentence. So, using that logic, we are going to look for a noun that comes after the word cooking. Let's take a look and see what we have. Well, the first word after the verb is family. I am cooking my family. Well, that doesn't make any sense because I'm certainly not cooking my family. There's another verb that does come after, there's another noun that does come after the verb cooking, and that is dinner. I am cooking dinner. Now, dinner in this case is going to be the direct object because that is what the verb cooking is acting upon. I am cooking what? I'm cooking dinner. So, if we're looking for an indirect object now, we know that it's going to come between the verb and the direct object, and that it's also going to be a noun. So let's see if we can find a noun that comes between the verb cooking and the direct object dinner. Well, family. Family is in between those two words, cooking and dinner. I am cooking dinner for whom? That's the other question we can ask ourselves to figure out what the indirect object is. I'm cooking dinner for whom? Well, for my family. That's who I'm cooking dinner for. So, in this case, I am cooking my family a big Italian dinner. I am cooking dinner for my family. Big and Italian in this case are also adjectives that are describing dinner. They're not nouns, and it's other part of speech that we're not concerned with at this point in time. So I'm the subject of the sentence. I'm the one doing the action. Cooking is the verb in the sentence. Cooking is the action I'm performing. What am I cooking? Dinner. Dinner is the direct object because it is receiving the action cooking. For whom am I cooking dinner? My family becomes the indirect object because it answers the question, for whom am I cooking dinner? Let's take a look at some other sentences and practice finding the indirect object. The first sentence is, my brother passed me the stuffed artichokes. Let's start by finding the subject. Who is doing something in this sentence? My brother passed me the stuffed artichokes. My brother is the subject. He's the one that's doing something. What is my brother doing? Or what has my brother done in this case? My brother passed. We have to figure out now what my brother passed. So my brother, the subject, passed the verb something. Well, we know it's going to be a noun. So let's see if we can find the nouns in this sentence. There are two other than my brother, me and artichokes. Well, my brother passed me. Well, he didn't actually pass me to anything or anyone. So that can't be the direct object. My brother passed artichokes. Well, you certainly can pass artichokes. Therefore, artichokes is the direct object in this sentence. My brother passed artichokes. Now, since there's another noun in between the verb, which is passed, and the direct object, which is artichokes, it could be the indirect object. So we ask ourselves, to whom, for what did the artichokes get passed? Well, to me. My brother, the subject, passed the verb, artichokes, the direct object, to me. My brother passed me the direct artichokes. My brother isn't passing me, he's passing the artichokes, but he's passing them to me. The second sentence is, my best friend Michelle crocheted her mom a handmade scarf. Well, let's start by finding the subject. Again, my best friend is Michelle. So, friend and Michelle is the same person. That's the subject, Michelle. Michelle is the one that's doing something in this sentence. What is Michelle doing? Michelle's crocheted something. Let's see if we can find the direct object. Again, we know it's going to be a noun, so let's see if we can pick out the nouns that follow the action verb, crocheted. Well, since friend comes before Michelle, we know that's not right. The nouns that come after crocheted would be mom and scarf. Well, if you know anything about crocheting, you know you can't crochet a mom. So, the other noun in the sentence is scarf. You can crochet a scarf. So, Michelle, the subject, crocheted, the verb, a scarf. Well, there's another noun that's stuck in between the action verb and the direct object. That could be the recipient of the scarf. We can ask ourselves, for whom or for what the scarf was crocheted. Well, it was crocheted for her mom. Mom is the noun that becomes the direct object of the verb, the indirect object of the verb crocheted. My best friend Michelle, the subject, crocheted, the verb, a scarf, the direct object, for her mom, the indirect object. Let's take a look at the third sentence. I gave Ginger a new squeaky toy. And just on the side note, Ginger is my little mini dachshund, who I love to death. So, let's see if we can figure out who is the subject of this sentence, or what. Well, the subject in this case is going to be I. I'm the subject. I am the one that's doing something in the sentence. What did I do? I gave something. I is the subject, gave is the verb. What did I give? Well, we know that a direct object and an indirect object for that case is going to come after the action verb. Therefore, the nouns that come after the verb would be ginger and toy. Well, I'm not giving Ginger to anyone. So let's take a look at the next noun, toy. I gave a toy. I can give a toy. So I is the subject, gave is the verb, that's what I'm doing. What did I give? I gave a toy. Now, to whom did I give this toy? Or for what did I give this toy? Well, to Ginger. I, subject, gave, verb, a toy, direct object, to whom? Ginger. Ginger is the indirect object. I gave a new toy to Ginger. Now let's look at the last sentence. Bill gave his classmate the lecture notes. Let's see if we can find the subject. Who is doing something in the sentence? Bill. Bill is doing something in the sentence. Bill gave his classmate the lecture notes. Bill is the subject. What did Bill do? Bill gave something. Gave is the action verb. Well, let's see if we can figure out the direct object. Again, we know that it's going to be a noun or a pronoun, and it's going to come after the verb. So, let's take a look at the nouns after the verb gave. We have classmate, and we have notes. Well, just like when my brother passed me the stuffed artichokes, he wasn't really passing me. In this instance, Bill isn't giving his classmate to anyone. So we know that classmate can't be the right verb to be the right noun to become the direct object. So the other noun is notes. Bill gave the notes. To whom did Bill give the notes? Well, the other noun in this sentence is classmate. Bill, the subject, gave, the verb, the notes, and to whom did he give them to? His classmate. Classmate becomes the direct object. Now that you've watched the video, you should be able to identify the objects of verbs. Just remember to ask yourself some questions when reading a sentence. What noun or pronoun is receiving the action in the clause or the sentence? And then to whom, for whom, or for what is the action being performed? Thanks for watching.